I'm Derek Hiebert. My wife and I lead missional communities in the context of a small liberal arts university named Pacific Lutheran University. PLU is part of an area called Parkland, which is south of Tacoma, and is a very rural and small town kind of area. So it's not the typical college town. It's not very big, and it's also a highly transitional area with the students that are part of the university. Most of them don't stay to get jobs here or in the Tacoma area. Most of them move away, as well as there's a strong military population with the Joint Base Lewis McChord that's nearby, as well as a major military installation there. So we've been on mission there for the last 7 years. We love it. We enjoy it. We enjoy being a part of the college context and interacting with college students in order to make disciples. So a few of the things that we've learned about making disciples and leading missional communities in a college context is, one, being willing to just accept the fact that their lives are highly transitional. We only get to see them for maybe 5 or 6 months out of the year because they have so many breaks in between semesters. Within the semester, many of them are gone for summer. And so just being willing to accept that and continue to work with them in that and think of creative ways to spend time with them and engage them in community. Another thing that we've learned is just trying to put ourselves back in their shoes. When I was in college, I wasn't very aware of this at the time, but looking back in hindsight, college is such a formative time in our lives. I think many of us can say that the time that we spent in college, we made some of our most significant life decisions about the direction that we're going to take, about how we see ourselves and how we view God and all of life. And so being willing to understand that about them and the experiences that they're going through, what they're thinking about, what they're feeling, all the different kinds of belief systems and philosophy and worldview and ideas that they're being inundated with, that they're being encouraged to analyze and to critique. That's all a part of this college experience. And it's a really huge time in life. It's super important and it's super significant. And we've learned to be intentional with that, to embrace that with them, to engage that with them for the sake of the gospel. Another thing that we have learned about college students and the college context is that because college is such a think tank of ideas and theory and criticism, that one of the best things that we could do is not so much try to always dialogue with them on that and compete with what they're learning, but to provide a genuine and authentic family that's on mission, to show them what that looks like in tangible, real, everyday life ways, instead of just engaging them on the level of theory or ideas, but really putting hands and feet and flesh and arms and legs to the gospel and showing them what it means to follow Jesus as a family, not only in our immediate family with my wife and my kids, but also the other people that were involved in us in our missional community. We would regularly get the sense and hear from them that they so much enjoyed a home-cooked meal and a time together with us to just share life and experience life together. So that's another thing that we've learned, is just being genuine and authentic and real, and just even embracing the mess and the confusion of life that happens because of our sin, and yet always going back to Jesus and finding grace, finding meaning and hope and stability and security in Him. Some of the struggles that we have experienced in reaching college students with the gospel, there's a couple of them. One, I would say, is the lifestyle of college students can tend to be fairly fickle. And by that I mean there's just a lack of commitment. College students, and I would just say this is predominant among our consumeristic American culture, is always wanting to keep their options open. And so learning to call them to a commitment to the Great Commission and to call them to a consistent, building consistency into their schedule and the things that they choose to say no to and the things that they choose to say yes to has been a struggle at times. And learning how to be patient with them in that, learning how to be bold and confident and continually calling them to the gospel, calling them to the Great Commission. And constantly pursuing them in the midst of that. Another obstacle is all of the liberal ideology and worldview that gets espoused and I would say preached and propagated in a liberal university context. As much as I think the university says that they're there to dialogue and help students analyze, there is a definite worldview and there's a definite way of thinking and ideology that is promoted there. And so that can tend to be an obstacle. I never imagined that being a part of a college context, how often I would have to explain and clarify and re-clarify the biblical stance on manhood and womanhood and what gender is and sexuality, all because of this liberal postmodern view on feminism and things like that. It can be an obstacle, but it's always a doorway to the gospel. And it's always a great way to point to Jesus, who is the Lord and King, and yet who laid down his life as a leader, and he showed us what it meant to serve, who was the true man, the true human being, and showed us what it means to be truly human, fueled by the Holy Spirit. So those have been a couple of the obstacles that have been tough at times. So some of the fruit that we have seen the Holy Spirit do in and through our missional communities there as we've reached the college context, we have seen in the midst of a context that's highly transitional with student life, we've also seen some commit to stay here and be on mission with us in Parkland and in the general area of Tacoma, being a part of the larger Soma family. And that's just been amazing to see. I would have never thought that we would see that kind of commitment from some of these students who have been so convicted by the gospel, by the power of the Spirit in their lives to stay here and continue to be on mission, continue to be a part of what Soma is doing here. So that's been really awesome to see. Another fruit that we've seen is we've seen some of these young people be so galvanized by the gospel and what the Lord is doing overseas and internationally that we've seen them sent over there on mission in various parts of the world for specific works of disciple making. And so being able to stay in contact with them and engage them in that has been awesome, and always looking forward to when they return. And lastly, I think a fruit that we have seen is even some of these students growing in their leadership and being developed as leaders to lead missional communities. And so we even saw one missional community at least reproduced out of ours that was led by a student who graduated from Pacific Lutheran University and then who eventually got married, and him and his wife are leading a missional community and doing very well. So that's another fruit, and it's been amazing to see the power of the Holy Spirit in the lives of these young people to bring them to a place where they are so compelled and enthralled by Jesus and the work that he's doing in Parkland and in PLU, and that they would commit themselves to being on mission there. Some advice that I would have for other people that are seeking to reach college students or are doing the work of disciple making and church planting in a college context is be willing to embrace the transitional nature of their lives. Be patient with that. Be willing, learn to think creatively with these students about how you can continue to call them to the work of disciple making and the Great Commission. Another thing too, I would say, is be willing to embrace your own mess in front of them. Be a lead confessor and a repenter. A lot of these students, all they get in college at times is just a think tank of ideas and theories and dialogue and talk, but they don't get to see a lot of hands, feet, arms, and legs around the gospel. So be that for them. Be a genuine family that's on mission. Show them what it means to be a servant. Show them what it means to be a missionary in tangible ways. Another piece of advice that I would have is also be bold and confident in calling them to the work of the Great Commission. That they themselves can be on mission and not just be talking about it or not just looking at it from a distance, but they themselves can actually engage in that with you. So show them what that looks like in community. Show them what that looks like as a family, and help them to see in tangible ways. Students love to be activists, so show them how to be active with the Great Commission. So those are just various things, and all I can say is continue to just be real and honest with the gospel, and show them what it means to be excited for Jesus, to have a passion for him, because they're in the midst of a time in life where they are being encouraged to be passionate for things, to be idealistic about the world, to be optimistic about the world. So show them what that looks like because of Jesus and how powerful and amazing he is.